Okay, let's dive right in. Think about it. The design of our cities, from how wide the sidewalks are to where the nearest grocery store is, it shapes pretty much everything about our daily lives. So today, we're going to look at some really powerful blueprints for redesigning our urban spaces to be more sustainable, more efficient, and, just more human.
You know that feeling, right? You're stuck in traffic, or you're circling for the 10th time looking for parking, or maybe you're just walking along a super noisy multi-lane road with zero shade. It just often feels like our needs come a distant second to the needs of our cars.
And this really gets to the heart of the disconnect, doesn't it? We're sold this promise of city life, vibrant communities, easy commutes. But the reality for so many of us is just traffic congestion and a whole lot of concrete.
Now here's the most important thing to get. The cities we live in today, they didn't just happen by accident. They are the direct result of decades of design choices. Choices that almost always put the car first. But if they were designed this way on purpose, well, that means something really powerful.
It means we can make different choices. We can actually design our way out of these problems. So what would those new choices even look like? Let's get into it.
So our first big idea completely reorganizes the city around a really simple concept, the 15-minute dream. The whole goal is to put life's essentials right within your reach.
This idea, championed by urbanist Carlos Moreno and made famous by cities like Paris, is just beautiful in its simplicity. Just picture it, an entire city where everything you really need, your work, the doctor, your kid's school, a park, is just a short, pleasant walk or bike ride away from your front door.
And this model isn't just about being close to shops and cafes, right? It's a much more holistic way of looking at city life, built around 6 essential things: living, working, getting supplies, caring for others, learning, and, of course, enjoying life.
So you might be wondering, how do you actually build this? Well, a key strategy is something called transit-oriented development, or TOD for short. The idea is brilliant. You build denser, more complete neighborhoods right around major transit hubs, like a subway or train station.
And there's a proven playbook for this, known as the 3Ds. First, you need density, enough people and jobs nearby to actually support good transit. Then, you need diversity, a healthy mix of homes, shops, and offices so it's not just a place people sleep. And absolutely crucial, you need good design that makes walking and biking safe and enjoyable.
Okay, so we've rethought the neighborhood. Now let's zoom in a bit to the very arteries of the city, our streets. The goal here is to transform them from just being corridors for traffic into vibrant public spaces for people.
The big idea here is the complete street. It's basically a policy that says, hey, streets are public spaces that have to be designed for everyone. That means pedestrians, cyclists, people taking the bus, and yeah, drivers too. Everybody gets a safe, dedicated space.
Let's look at a real-world example. Here's your typical before shot, a wide 4-lane road. It's really designed for one thing and one thing only, moving cars as fast as possible. For anyone not inside a car, it's kind of intimidating. And here is the after. Now look, it's the exact same amount of public space, we've just reallocated it. Now we've got 2 car lanes, a protected bike lane for safety, and a much wider sidewalk. The whole street is safer, it's more pleasant, and it serves way more people.
This transformation actually has a name. It's called the road diet. You're literally putting the road on a diet by reducing car lanes to free up that space for everyone else. And it totally works. Studies from the U.S. Federal Highway Administration show it can reduce crashes by up to 47% without totally crippling traffic.
Now, if you want to see an even more radical approach, you got to look at Barcelona's superblocks. What they do is take a 9-block grid and basically push all the through traffic to the outer roads. The streets on the inside, they're transformed into pedestrian zones, parks, and playgrounds. It's a super bold move that reclaims huge amounts of space for people.
So, okay, we've got people-friendly neighborhoods and people-friendly streets. That's awesome. But what about the physical environment? How do we get our cities to work with nature instead of constantly fighting against it? This next section is all about that. It's about letting nature back in. We're going to look at how we can use green urbanism to cool down our concrete jungles and make them more resilient and, frankly, just better places to live.
Let's start with a pretty stark number. Our cities, with all their dark asphalt and concrete, soak up so much heat that they can be anywhere from 2 to 5 degrees Celsius hotter than the countryside right next door. This is the urban heat island effect, and it has some really serious consequences. The good news is we actually have a toolkit to fight back. Simple things like cool roofs that use reflective paint, green facades, which are basically vertical gardens, and using lighter-colored paving materials can make a huge difference in reflecting sunlight and bringing down those temperatures.
And this brings up another big challenge. What happens when it rains? In a typical concrete city, all that water just rushes into the sewers, causing floods and pollution. This sponge city concept, which has been pioneered in places like Wuhan, totally flips that on its head. It uses things like rain gardens to absorb, store, and even purify rainwater naturally.
All right, so with better neighborhoods and greener streets, how do we tie it all together with smarter ways to move? Because let's be honest, the future of getting around our cities can't be about everyone owning their own private car.
And that's where this idea called mobility as a service, or MaaS, comes in. Think of it like a Netflix subscription for transportation. It's a single app on your phone that lets you plan and pay for your whole journey, seamlessly mixing the bus, the metro, a bike share, maybe even a ride-hailing service. It makes living without a car not just possible, but actually convenient.
And that really is the key takeaway here. The 15-minute city, complete streets, sponge cities, MaaS, these aren't just a bunch of isolated ideas. They're all interconnected tools in a bigger toolkit for building cities that are greener, healthier, and truly designed around us, the people.
Because our cities are never finished, are they? They're always evolving, always being built and rebuilt. So the only real question left is, with all these incredible ideas at our fingertips, what are we going to choose to build next?